Welcome to Texas Game Day Final, presented by thezebra.com.
It was a 21-point lead a week ago in Dallas against OU. It evaporated. You saw a celebration like this ensue, but it was the guys from OU doing the celebrating. Moments ago, an 11-point lead evaporates for this Texas football team, and it is the opposition celebrating once again, this time in Austin, Texas, as the Longhorns blow back-to-back halftime leads for the first time in at least 18 years. This is Texas Game Day Final. Logan Galindo here with Fozzie Whitaker, Michael Griffin. My biggest question out of this is what has changed? How is this any different than what we've seen over the previous decade? You're looking at a Texas team now with last season they were 5-2. Season before that 5-2. 2018 6-1 in the first 7 games. Now you're looking at 4-3, and this flips every potential script out there that we could write up on this Texas team. What has changed, Fozzie?
Well, we talked about kind of what was at stake earlier in the pregame show about the Big 12 championship opportunities that may have been in play. I don't think you can even start bringing up Big 12 championship game whenever you look at the caliber of play that Texas has put on film for the past 2 weeks against Oklahoma and now Oklahoma State. There's a major problem with the defense, and then there's a major problem with the offense finishing. And until that is addressed, there's no other conversation about Texas being in contention in Dallas come December 4th, because there won't be an opportunity for them to get there.
Well, it's one of those things that you feel bad because on the defensive side of the ball, it's almost as if the offense isn't giving you anything.
Yes.
They're not, it's the bend but don't break defense, but it's like I can't even allow a little hole, a little leakage of anything. And that's what you're seeing right now, is that despite the fact every single game this season when it came to the fourth quarter, this offense just somehow, some ways just sputters. Like, we have absolutely we don't know how to play 4 quarters. We just don't. And
going into the final drive, there was 1 total yard for the Texas offense in the fourth quarter.
And again, it's like you have opportunity after opportunity after opportunity, and you're just not doing anything. You have a 21-point lead. You have a 17-point lead. You just don't know how to keep your leads. You literally say, once I get there, it's almost like I get complacent. I don't know what it is, and that's what's really making this team struggle right now.
And it was supposed to be better than this. For Oklahoma State, it was not, right? You got to tip your cap to Oklahoma State, a team that remains undefeated and is squarely in the Big 12 race. Mike Gundy has completely revamped his approach. Yep. This is a defensive-first team that has found a spark in Jaylen Warren. They ride into the win. But coming into the year, this was a team in Oklahoma State picked mid-pack, lower tier in the Big 12. Nothing was expected of them. So it just goes back to show you the longevity of Mike Gundy, how he works with what he has. So yeah, you lose to a team that remains undefeated, but it's not like Oklahoma State was supposed to be one of the top-tier teams. Texas, however, was. And it's tough when you lose this game, and we talk all pregame, right? Maybe it was premature with Casey Thompson.
Yeah.
But Bijan Robinson is one of the best players in America, and you lose your 3rd game with him on the roster.
My frustration comes in, especially these past 2 weeks, why has Bijan not received the ball more against Oklahoma and against Oklahoma State? Like, that last drive, you saw Bijan touch it 1 time. He gets a massive gain or a large gain, and then he doesn't touch the ball again. So I'm not quite sure if Sark is on the mindset of thinking that he needs to save Bijan for some other reason or some other occasion. But whenever the game is on the line, your ball should be in your best player's hand.
Yeah.
And that's not the case with Texas right now.
I do think that is a tough dynamic, though, because the O-line is in shambles right now. So you're darned if you do, you're darned if you don't, because they're running him and the O-line isn't holding up.
I get that, but he still averages 6 yards a carry.
I hear you. And when it's
and he's that special. He's that special where if you give him just an ounce, he can take it and turn it into a pound. And that's something that's special about Bijan. Whenever you have that type of caliber player, just give him a chance.
Yeah.
Just give him a chance and see what he can do. Now, if he can't do it, then obviously probably nobody can. But if he has that opportunity and he does make a play, then you're rewarded because you know of the type of caliber and the type of player that Bijan is, and you get an opportunity to see another down.
So Bijan had 21 carries, 135 yards, 2 touchdowns, 6.4 yards per carry. Also had a receiving touchdown, so it was a fantastic performance for him. You look on the other side, Jalen Warren, 33 carries, 193. And Griff, it was the methodical approach by Oklahoma State. They came in with the game plan, and they never wavered. The final drive where they went ahead with the field goal, you saw them throw some wrinkles in there with the quarterback, pass back with the reverse as well. But for most of that game, they believed in Jalen Warren and let him do the work.
Well, when you look at it, they know who they are, and we're not going to get away from that. We knew that we played good defense.
Yep.
And we knew we were going to ride with Jalen Warren. We know what we're going to do. We're not shying away from that. And I think that's when you come to Sarkisian, you're trying to figure out, what is your game plan? What is it? What is something like, who are you? What is this team? And we continuously ask this question over and over and over again. Who is this team? We know who Oklahoma State is. We know you are Jalen Warren. We know 31 carries, however many carries it is, we know. That's who you are. But I think right now we still don't know who the University of Texas is.
And what did we talk about in the pregame show? When momentum goes against Texas, they have not shown the ability to get it back. To find that one play that's just going to stop the momentum and give them a shot to get back in the game. And once again, they do not come up with that moment. It was also interesting, talking to some of the all-time great offensive players here at this program, down on the sideline, and just started the conversation with, they're looking really good early in games when plays are scripted. These are some of the observations that we got. Once they get past that early handful of plays, though, things are now slowing down. How much do you buy into that there could be something there?
I think there's a little bit, and I fought back on that as well because I said Sark just put up 48.
Yeah.
They just put up over 30 points against TCU. They just put up 70 against Texas Tech, put up 59 against Rice. Like, there are things that they've done very, very well on the offensive side of the ball. But to your point, in the fourth quarter, whenever they need to be able to close a game out with the lead, they just have not been able to do that. And I'm not quite sure if that's because of the play of the defense, if the offensive line is getting tired, whatever the case may be. It just seems like the defense, whoever they're facing, has more energy than what the offense is putting out.
But again, you say that, but let's say this, though. You go in there, this offensive scripts, it's the 15 to 20 plays.
Yep.
And we know versus Oklahoma, they had 14 points in the first 2 minutes, like that quick. And yes, it makes sense because we're scoring all these points very early in the game. But come third, fourth quarter, it's like we go into a war and we use all our ammunition so early and we have nothing. Now we got knives and hammers and bats or whatever. Like, this is what we have left to defend ourselves. And we're just hoping and praying that we could just hold on just long enough for somebody to make a play, something to come save us. And yes, I totally agree because we're saying that, hey, you're starting the game out very fast. But that's why I say it's like front runners. When we get up front, we're great. But we don't know what to do when we start getting tested. So when it comes to that, it's saying is, where are we coming in and saying, hey, we got to make some adjustments? Because right now we're seeing, come the fourth quarter, 2 weeks ago, hey, fourth quarter doesn't matter. We have so many points. They can't catch up. Now you done played 2 good teams in the Big 12. And now come fourth quarter, it's a different story. Yeah. We don't have no firepower, and they got all the firepower.
And Sark takes so much pride on this. He even manipulates his practice, formulates the practices so that the second half of practice is more difficult than the first. So they get into that mentality of closing out games. Yet we've seen now in the second half, even with a guy like Bijan Robinson to tote the rock, they're not getting it done. So last 2 weeks, first half they're plus 22, second half minus 37. And the yards by the opposition, 6-12. They ain't getting it done in the second half. Brought the stat coming into the game. Texas is allowing the 4th most yards in the FBS in the 4th quarter. And that got worse because Oklahoma State, once again, had another fantastic 4th quarter against this Texas defense. It wasn't the big plays, it was just methodical. They won the war in the second half. So Texas drops its 3rd game of the season. Once again, we're left looking for answers, just trying to figure out when will this program turn the corner. Bijan was turning the corner there, had another electric performance, but Texas comes up short, 32-24.
Texas Game Day Final is presented by thezebra.com. Compare and save at thezebra.com. And in part by Texas Farm Bureau Insurance, proud auto insurance provider for Bevo.
Well, we knew it was going to be close. I mean, the historic matchups recently between Texas and Oklahoma State coming down to the wire. Last year was a classic in Stillwater. Opening drive for Texas. Well, you got Keelan Robinson going 25 yards. We were wondering if they would get him involved.
Yeah, that jet sweep looked really good.
3rd and 7. So no Jordan Whittington. You got to have someone else come up with those 3rd down catches. That's Joshua Moore, 9 yards. And then, of course, it's Bijan Robinson. 7-0. You score on your opening drive. Griff, everything's going well.
Man, it was a great drive. I mean, it was about 9+ plays, and they just drove it down their throats.
And then you have Spencer Sanders. He's sacked on a 3rd and 8. However, horse collar called on Keandre Coburn, so that's 15 yards. So extend the drive. Spencer Sanders with time to Tay Martin. Now, Tay Martin was having some issues. He basically dropped 2 touchdowns early in this game.
First play, he dropped a touchdown pass.
And this is the second one that he dropped. So you dodge a bullet there. Oklahoma State has to settle for the red zone field goal. Texas defensively has been fantastic there, especially in early games, holding opponents to field goals in the red zone. A little later, 3rd and 6. I thought Marcus Washington was going to run away from everybody.
Man, he may make good Griff next week with that run. Like, hey, get there now. Run.
Can't make it 2 weeks in a row, can you? Settles for a Dicker the kick and field goal, and it's 10-3. Texas with the lead. Get to the second quarter now. First play of this drive for the Longhorns. Feed the beast. Bijan, great vision. He cuts it up, some moves. Then he got 26 yards.
Take him along for a ride while you doing that.
In the red zone, Casey looking right at Bijan, and he's been fantastic receiving with those looks out of the backfield.
Hey, we saw that play the first game of the season. Just let him swing on out.
And he's always open. 3rd and 4. What a pick here by Deshaun Jameson.
You go make bad throws. Hey, you got to take them.
So Texas is in control. It's 17-3, but this changed everything. You're driving at this point. You're in the red zone. That's a costly pick 6. Fuzzy, it's changed everything.
Yeah, you can't have it. The momentum to be able to try to go up 24-3 at half would have been a big win and cushion for Texas.
So Texas still feeling good. Go to the second half. You got a lead. Xavier Worthy. Hey, we knew he wasn't going to do what he did against OU. 19 yards there. Worthy overall, 5 catches, 28 yards. Bijan,
Makes it look so easy.
So it's just effortless.
You're like, are you running or you just like...
Mama, there go that man.
And this is one of the best rush defenses in America that he did that against. Do not lose sight and perspective of that. A little later on a 3rd and 9, Sanders flushed, and he was open. He was open there, incomplete, but we got a roughing call on Ray Fort. That brings up, a few plays later, another 3rd and 11. And Dominic Richardson out of the backfield for 24 yards. Here comes Oklahoma State. They get it down to the 4-yard line. Ends up as a field goal, 21 yards. Hey, at this point, still no big deal. It's not a big deal. You've got Bijan. Just do what you do. But on this play, Casey Thompson absolutely rocked. Malcolm Rodriguez gets him, drives the helmet in. He would miss one play. Hudson Card would come in for one snap. Casey Thompson would come back. We go to the 4th quarter now, 8-point game. This is when Jalen Warren starts to go off.
And that's what he loves to do. Breaking down film, he wears you down and then takes advantage of it come late in the game.
Spencer Sanders wasn't great by any stretch of the imagination, but Griff, there he gets Brendan Presley.
Yeah, I mean, he just made the plays that they needed him to make to have an opportunity to win this game.
Huge play in the open field on the 2-point conversion attempt by Jalen Ford. So Texas maintains a 2-point lead. However, they would go 3 and out, and there's Jalen Warren.
I mean, hey, they just fed the beast when it came to the 4th quarter. Stay a course.
3rd and 6 in the red zone. Sanders, who was looking for the fade on the right side, it wasn't there. He scrambles, nothing. So a field goal attempt, and Oklahoma State takes the lead. But again, it's all good. You need a point. You got Dicker the kicker. You got plenty of time. How about the decision, though, on 4th and 3 with 3 timeouts to go for it instead of punt?
You know, you have the opportunity to punt, but Sark believed in his offense.
Well, Texas...
Gundy believed in him.
Yeah, they would have issues slowing down Jalen Warren, 29 yards. And then on this play, Texas is allowing Sanders to score, hoping to make it an 8-point game and have a shot.
Yeah, Dev, you got to allow them to score because they got the first down. At this point, hey, I can't use all my timeouts. You got to let them score right now.
Casey Thompson, second INT of the day, and that would do it. That would seal the win for Oklahoma State. Hey, just look at the numbers. 4th quarter, Texas was outgained 170-1.
Unacceptable.
Let me repeat that, 170-1.
Just one.
Unacceptable.
Jalen Warren had the 33 carries, also had 2 catches, so 35 touches there for Warren. That was that ballpark that Bijan had a few weeks ago against TCU. He ended up with 21 carries and 3 catches. Here's the coach, Steve Sarkisian.
Ready? Well, I think it's kind of 2 weeks in a row where we playing pretty well, and something happens in the game. This mic is terrible. Something happens in the game. We end up throwing the pick 6 with an opportunity to go up 24-3, makes it a 17-10 game. And then we have the opportunity there. We score to start the second half. We get the stop and score to start the second half. And we have a really poor series backed up. And, you know, for us as a team to go where we want to go, we can't just hold on. And we can't think to hold on because a couple things don't go our way. You know, we have to think that something good is right around the corner, and the only way it's going to show itself is if we execute our jobs really well. And I think right now we're in a space where we get a lead, something doesn't go our way, and we harbor a little bit of the negative thoughts, and ultimately those negative thoughts creep into cautious play, uncertainty, and ultimately errors. And we had some untimely errors today that were crucial. I thought our defense held on probably about as long as they could. They were playing fine. We had a couple big penalties on third down that affected, and we gave up some points. But I thought they held on as long as they could. But you can't go 4 and out 4 times in a row. 3 and out, I think it was 4 times in a row, and expect those guys just to keep holding up and keep holding on. And ultimately, the dam broke. They got the lead. And we couldn't execute enough offensively to get it back. So we've got a great challenge ahead of us to get us to play to our capability. And today we did not play to our capabilities. So bye's probably coming at a good time, because as much as it is schematically, I think there's some things we need to work on mentally from a psyche standpoint for us to be the team that I know we're capable of being. So that's that. A couple injury things. Obviously, Overshawn had the concussion, and then Crawford had a hamstring. That's why I didn't see those two guys. So, questions?
Any other questions? Start on the right with Sam.
Hey, Steve, when you look at the struggles offensively in these second halves, where is the biggest culprit? Is it just not getting a hat on the hat up front? Is it just not executing the plays overall? What is it that you see that's the biggest problem?
Well, I think quite frankly, we're all kind of taking turns, for whatever reason, we've had a couple different false starts, which we don't have early in the game, but for some reason they rear their ugly head. We have two issues on snaps. We don't block the same play versus the same front like we blocked it earlier in the game. So ultimately, somewhere in there, that's where I'm talking about that uncertainty in our mind and the cautiousness and not executing with a level of confidence like we do early in the game. Ultimately, that's on me. I've got to get that fixed and get us to a point to where we're believing in what we're doing like we're doing earlier in the ball game. Because football is 60 minutes, and this has been 2 weeks in a row where whether we're just trying to hold on as opposed to attacking, but we have to get it rectified, because you can't play the way we played the second half of this game or the second half of last week's game and be the team that we want to be. The thing is, we're capable of it because we show it. Now we've got to sustain that throughout the whole entire ball game, and that is the issue, and that's what we got to get fixed.
Steve, only 12 yards on the last 6 drives, and you mentioned a lot of different possible things. As you're watching it, is it just this issue here, this issue, or is there a major theme of the confidence?
Yeah, I think I just answered it.
Right. Okay, so were there any second half adjustments you could have made to break you guys out of that funk?
Well, you just try to get back to doing things that they believe in, and the things that we executed earlier in the game to give them a chance to find that groove, find that rhythm again, which is what you try to do. You try to get the offensive line some confidence. You try to get the quarterback some confidence, the runner some confidence, everybody. And there's that fine line of what's the best call for the situation, but also what's the best call for the players to go out and execute and get some confidence.
Coach, you were pretty confident about your team prior to the season, but are there certain things that aren't really revealed until the bullets start flying, until you get into live action, that you're starting to learn about them now?
Well, I think that's fair. I think like anything, practice only shows you so much about individual players, about schemes, about offense, defense, special teams, and then your overall team. And like anything, as you navigate your way through a season, things show up, and then it's our job as coaches to try to get those things fixed as quickly as possible. And sometimes it's individual players or technique or scheme, or sometimes it's psyche. And to me, coming out of this game, it was about psyche. And now seeing it 2 weeks in a row, really, where we can't play cautious. We can't play trying to hold on. And I think that we do that. I think that we just are just hoping the other team might make a mistake. And Oklahoma State didn't make the mistakes. They just kind of kept playing their game. And ultimately, we made the mistakes that caused them to get back into the game and then ultimately take the lead and win the game.
Coach, you say you got some things to work on mentally over this break. What do you say to them? Because you probably talked to them to the blue in the face about believe in playing 60 minutes. What do you say to them? And what goes through your mind when you sense that something is going wrong? Because like you said, it's happened 2 weeks straight.
Yeah, I think one is you have to address it head on. I don't think that we can act as if nothing is an issue there. Clearly, it's like anything. If we weren't playing a certain coverage right, we would address it and we would try to fix it. that's our issue. So we have to address it. We have to do the things necessary to work on it. You have to put in the time to do it. I don't think it's about talk. I think we have to work on specific things to address it, so that when those situations come up again, we don't get stuck in that low, and that we get ourselves back into a really clear state of mind with confidence and belief in executing what we're capable of doing.
How do you you talked about the dam breaking late in the fourth quarter. How do you kind of evaluate where the run defense is right now?
Well, I thought we were playing fine, but ultimately, when you go 3 and out 4 consecutive series, that's tough, man. I mean, we did not play very good complementary football again, in late into the third quarter and then in the fourth quarter. We just didn't. And teams win championships, not one side of the ball or one area of your team. It's an overall team thing that win ball games and ultimately win championships. And that takes complementary football. That's everybody playing together. That's when one side is maybe struggling, the other one can pick it up for a little bit until the other one can get going. And we didn't do that today. And it's really been 2 straight weeks where we haven't done that, where offensively things are going good. And then it's okay to have a 3 and out now and then. It's okay to have maybe even 2, but to go 4 in a row, that's tough, because sooner or later, you get out of a gap or you get cut off, and then the ball spits out, and you end up with some fatigue. I mean, that's just football, and that's why it's a complementary game. It's not about one side or the other. It's about playing collectively as a team, and we haven't done a great job of that for 2 weeks now.
Yeah, Steve, just to get into the weeds a little bit on the offense, Keelan Robinson, I think he had, 1 carry, 1 touch today, and you didn't seem to use the tight ends very much. And do you find yourself thinking, wow, I may need some kind of trick play, gadget play like Gundy was trying just to change the momentum and make a first down?
No, I don't disagree. I don't think, trick plays are great when they work, and sometimes they can cause for some negative plays. And we actually had something in mind that we didn't get the look that we wanted and had to get out of it. Ultimately, to me, when things aren't going your way, I think you have to try to get back into executing. And how do you get all 11 guys just doing their job for numerous plays in a row to try to get momentum back? And we've struggled at that for the last couple weeks when things didn't go our way. And as much of anything, that's on me getting them back. And how do I get them back? And in what frame of mind and state of mind do I get them to get them back? But that's a great challenge, and that's why we coach, and that's why we do what we do and love what we do. If it was easy, everybody would do it, and we've obviously got a great challenge ahead of us, and we'll welcome the challenge. We got work to do, and we'll make it happen.
Stay on the left, Danny.
Steve, can I just get your thoughts on the loss of DeMarvion, what that kind of did for your defense, and also Jalen stepping up and having a good game?
Yeah, I mean, DeMarvion's obviously a great player. He's an impactful player for us on defense. He's an impactful player for us on special teams. He has playmaking ability, that for sure. But I thought Jalen Ford did a nice job. We got to look at the tape and see how it all played out. But I thought Jalen stepped in, made plays. But hopefully we can get DeMarvion back.
Hey, Steve, who makes those decisions when it comes to the offensive line, guys coming in and out? And do you have an injury update on Jake Majors?
That's a collective, between Coach Flood and I of what we were trying to get done. Obviously with Tope making his first start, we wanted to make sure that we kind of rolled him some with Hayden. We felt like, at left tackle, having Andre and Christian work there. Then when Jake went down, Derek had to go to center and Andre went to right tackle. So, is it ideal? No, but that's kind of where we're at up front. We've got to give some guys opportunities and see what they can do.
Start Casey, came in with the thumb from last week, and he took a really good shot in the third quarter. Through all that, how would you evaluate his play today?
I've seen Casey play better, but I think in the end, as much as it is, I think Casey can play better. I think we can play better. I think we can coach better. I think we can play better. I've seen us play better. I've seen us play better in the first half of the game. So, I hate to keep coming back to it, but we showed against the defense today to play really well. And somewhere in there, things didn't go our way. A couple backed up series where we didn't play great. We have to find a way to getting back to the execution piece of it when things aren't going our way. And it's been a common theme here for 2 weeks. And so if clearly we've got an issue there that we have to work on, and it's not just Casey. I think it's everybody involved.
Hey, Steve, they grabbed the momentum with that pick six. What were your conversations like with the guys at the half because you were still ahead?
The reality of it is we were playing really well as a team. I thought our defense played, really good football in the first half. Offense was moving the ball. They get the pick six and was like, hey, let's just, recalibrate. Let's get back to work. I thought we did a great job. We went out on defense. We start the second half. We get a stop. We get the ball on offense. We move down the field, touchdown. But we can't relax. And I think somewhere in there, maybe there was a sense of relaxing, like, okay, we extended the lead back. And you can't play football like that. You can't play football holding on. You have to stay aggressive. We have to be smart, but you have to stay aggressive. And somewhere in there, we lost our stinger and we lost our focus.
Last one, Sam on the right.
Steve, you mentioned a lot of mistakes and penalties. I'm curious how deflating the 2 personal fouls that extended their drives were defensively for you guys.
Yeah, those are big plays. I didn't have a great look at the horse collar on their sideline. Obviously, we forced the third down stop, and they called Ray for roughing the quarterback. It's a tough call. I have to, again, look at that specifically. It was a nice play by Ray. I don't know exactly what he did for that to get called. But those are tough when you get off the field on third down, and then you got to play again. Again, we can overcome it. We've shown that we can, but when you do it more than once in game, those are hard things to overcome.
Thanks, Coach. Appreciate it.
All right, guys. Thank you. Have a good evening.
Hang tight, everybody. We'll bring some players in a minute.
So we'll have more from Coach Sark coming up on Monday, his weekly press conference, live at 11 a.m. Central Time. Actually, I don't think there's going to be a press conference this week. There is. We got one. Even with the bye week coming up. There's going to be a press conference. How about that? And Rewind with Coach Sark definitely will be that, 7 p.m. Central Time. 32-24. Texas falls short. We're going to hear from Okie coming up on Texas Game Day Final.
Straightening, yeah. Straightening, yeah. Don't not get strained but straightening. Don't not get strained but straightening. Don't not get strained but straightening. You don't get straight, you don't straighten it. In this game, sit back, be patient. Act like the game went vacant. Act like some.
All right, let's get into the Allstate Good Hands play of the game. Deshaun Jameson, the Shark. Gotta like those hands.
Give me that. Thank you, Spencer.
Yes, Spencer Sanders. Off the mark, but Jameson will take it. INT for number 5. Alex with Okie after the game.
Okie, in your estimation, what happened out there today, especially in the second half?
I think we played hard. We played our butts off. They just won. I just feel like, we got to go back, see what went wrong, and then go on from there.
Does it seem like a bit of a pattern now where you all get out to the early lead and in the second half the opponent rallies, comes back, and ends up with the win?
I won't say it's a pattern. I just feel like, we just need to find out what goes on and what we're doing mentally and what we need to change. I think that's about it, really.
It seemed like the defense bottled them up pretty well in the first half, and then they got the running game going. Warren got hot in the second half, and things changed. From your vantage point, why did they change?
We had a great, of course, like you said, we had a good first half. I still think we played really hard in the second half. Shout out to Oklahoma State for making adjustments, and they hit us on a few plays.
What is the team's mentality right now after this loss?
Losing hurts, so we're hurt right now, but we know we got to move on, and we got to put it on the next opponent.
Thanks, Okie.
B-Ball 15, he's out of here. It's like I've seen enough. Back to the pasture for me. Texas with a much needed bye week coming up. We got awards too. That's after the break.
Looks to throw. Hit. Ball loose. Oh, Anthony Cook. Thompson to the end zone. Touchdown. Joshua Moore.
Make way for the rookie of the year with the swing. I'll be big Texas repping from the corner of the state. Bum B, hand it off to me. I'll run it all the way.
Bijan's got it again. Turns the corner. Makes people miss. Makes one of those cuts. Number 5 still running.
Thompson got a receiver there. And what a grab by Jordan Whittington.
Hey, welcome back to Texas Game Day Final. Lowell Galindo here with Fozzie Whitaker, Michael Griffin. Hey, we've had fun today, at least.
Early.
Yes.
Today.
This morning.
I got to say something.
Yes.
I don't think we can do the matching 3 lapel pins anymore.
It's your fault.
It's not working. We're not doing this no more.
His fault.
We're not doing this anymore.
Yeah, yesterday or last week it was...
It was Sonic, Tails, and Knuckles. It didn't work. Super Mario Brothers doesn't work.
On the right side this time.
No longer, no. It's only me that can wear the lapel pins.
Sorry.
It's a wrap.
Luigi, peace out, bro. You're done.
Mewtwo's coming back.
Okay, Mewtwo. Hey, let's get to the awards, starting with the Ricky, the top run. And, of course, it's going to be Bijan. Bijan breaking free for the 38-yard touchdown run in the third quarter. Add it to the list.
What another one, explosive. That cut right there. He moves so subtly, it makes it look like it's just effortless.
It's like butter.
It's so smooth. So smooth.
Is it better than this, however? So, today it ended in the touchdown. This did not... I'm going with this one. I'm going OU.
I still love the OU. I still love the
Oklahoma.
Yeah, I think that had the stiff arm and everything.
Everything. It had it all.
Somebody was doing gymnastics and everything.
Oh, man, there will be more words this week, I'm sure. The Paschal top catch, Marcus Washington.
I'm happy for my guy.
Yeah.
Just get there.
He talked about somebody stepping up for Jordan Whittington, and Marcus Washington showed what he can do.
2 catches, 60 yards.
Stop looking at him run, man. Run.
But, hey, you love to see it because he's been a selfless player this year, paving the way in the ground game. The reigning champ, they miss him. They miss Jay Witt.
They miss him, and this catch right here
Yeah, that's it.
Still reigns supreme.
It's, that's the 180. Beautiful.
Jammer, the top hit. This is the 2-point conversion. Jalen Ford coming up. Get the stop.
A huge play, especially with him coming in due to Overshawn having an injury.
Yeah.
The way that he played was really good and a bright spot for the future.
And Overshawn was injured on a huge hit as well. And that's something that we're going to have to watch. That loss. They are so thin right now.
Yeah.
You can't afford to lose the best player on your defense.
Absolutely.
Anthony Cook, this still survives.
Oh, yeah.
This is
So close.
Oh, yes.
The whiplash. Car wreck.
And picked up the phone.
A lot of new bodies in there. Texas offense and defense. That guy's still churning out yards. Does he need more carries? We'll let you know what the bye week means for this Texas team when we return.
Texas Game Day Final.
I came from nothing to something like it's nothing, yeah, you know I done it, that is no discussion.
Folks, we're going to get an opportunity to see one of the best players in the nation. His name is Bijan.
Handoff. Bijan Robinson to the goal line. He's across. Touchdown, Texas. Flings it out to Bijan. Robinson will finish it into the end zone. Touchdown.
Bijan Robinson, give him the ball. Touchdown, Texas.
Once again, Bijan was electric. You put the football in his hands, and he does great things. And check this out, the most rushing yards through 7 games for Texas in the Big 12 era. That's going back to 1996. It's Ricky, late great said, Deontay in 2016, and then Bijan with 930. So, I mean, there still is I would say, a significant gap between Bijan and Deontay and guys like said, and I mean, 98 is just a different level from Ricky Williams, but It's pretty exclusive company. All those guys before him finishing in the top 8 in the Heisman voting. It's going to be more difficult to do that with a third loss. Running backs typically do not win the Heisman Trophy unless they're breaking records or the team is winning national championships. That's been the case for the last 5 dudes to do that. After the game, Bijan and Alex.
Bijan, how tough is this one to swallow? Again, another first half lead, strong offensively in that half, in the second half, couldn't hold on.
Man, it's always tough. This is like momentum that they get. And, we try to find our momentum. Sometimes we'll get some open plays, get some good plays, but then we seem to come back to honing our focus and just make sure that we, just finish the drives because, we understand that they bring pressure and that they bring stunts, but, just different things that we need to do to improve for offense.
Does it feel like a pattern now developing where something happens in the game, if it's in the second half, third quarter, whatever it is, and you feel like, oh no, here it comes again?
I hope it's not like that. I always pray, that we always, stay focused in the next play and don't worry about the play before because when we start worrying about the play before, then, we'll start thinking about, what happened instead of thinking about what we have to do at test, in that moment. So, I just always say, always keep our faith, man, and just make sure that we always just understand what play that we're in and not worry about the plays before.
Felt like you individually had a strong performance. What did you make of your game today?
I think it's a team effort. I'm always going to go with the team. Things open up and I got to find some holes, find some gaps. But, as a team, we need to play stronger. So that means I need to play stronger as well.
What was said and who said it in the locker room afterwards?
Coach Sark, he just talked to us and he just said, just make sure that we just come back, with the right mindset. This is a tough one to swallow, but, we just can't look at that game again, and we just got to keep moving forward. Like I always say, God has a bigger plan for the outcome, and we just can't let these trials get in our way of anything that He has for us.
Thanks, Bijan.
Yeah, thank you.
Oh, class, grace, even with the loss for Bijan Robinson, you just have to be thankful that the fact that number 5 is on this team, because if you do not have the contributions from Bijan Robinson, you don't know where this program is right now. So to an extent, he's carrying the team, but at the same time, Fozzie, you're saying give him more.
Yeah, absolutely. We saw this play out against TCU where Sark put his true trust an entire offense, handed it over to Bijan late in the game and said, hey, you're going to be the reason why we win this game. Casey, you made a phenomenal throw to Jordan Whittington, but ultimately, Bijan, we're putting it in your hands. Whether the offensive line blocked great or not, it's up to you to be able to get us in a better position to win this game. And Bijan did that. And I think the last 2 weeks, he hasn't had the opportunity to do that. And I just want to see him have the opportunity to get that to do that.
Yeah, and when you go back to looking at, so when you get these leads, the biggest thing is you got to run out the time. You got to run that clock out. So with that being said, if your running back is your primary guy and he's what this team goes through, yes, give him the ball. Design runs. Even come in heavier formations when it comes to maybe 2 tight end sets, things of no nature. But, hey, implement the run and run out the clock so you can take your time.
Hey, but if that's not working, right, and we haven't seen that approach work the past couple weeks,
right?
I know Casey threw the late interception, but do they have to start cranking it up more and be more aggressive while they're holding on to a lead in the second half?
But here's the thing. We saw the stats at the pregame show. Casey is a lot better whenever you go off of play-action shots.
Great
We saw
point.
his
Yep.
QBR in the 90s. He had a 91 QBR whenever you play action, so that means you're running the ball well. If you're not running the ball, there's not a sense of threat to me that the Oklahoma State defense is feeling, and therefore Casey is not having the same success that he's having whenever the play action is available. So I think you still have to implement that run because ultimately that is what opens up the offense as a whole.
And it goes back, like you said, it goes back to when the defense allowed to just say, hey, this is a pass. We get to just rush. But the play action pass makes you have to readjust. If you're trying to stop the run, now you got to change from run stopping to now on pass rushing. It allows Casey to move around in the pocket, and that's where he does his best at.
Hey, let's get to the tell of the tape presented by thezebra.com. This is flipping it forward, looking to the game after the bye week against Baylor. And Baylor is a team that they lost the first game of the season to Oklahoma State in a game that was a battle. Texas leading the all-time series 79-27-4. Last season, Texas got the win there. They've won 5 of the last 6. But Baylor is a team, they've got some positivity going for them under David Randa. What is a concern to me at this point in time, and this goes back to my point about this Texas team that I said a lot coming into the season. They've got the frontline guys. They've got the frontline guys. Right now, there is not depth on the roster. And seeing Overshone go down, that's a concern.
Yeah.
We don't know how long he's going to be out. Knowing that the offensive line is in more flux than it has been at any point in time with Okafor going down a couple weeks ago. There are some serious issues that are just coming up even more. And I don't know how many more hits that they can take at this point in time, honestly.
Yeah, obviously the injuries are starting to mount up. I don't think the bye week could have come at a better opportunity for this Texas team to try to lick their wounds from both the losses, but as well as what they've experienced from an injury standpoint on the field. And then you're going to go into a hostile environment in Waco that seems to have everything rolling from the standpoint of running the ball. If Texas has not figured out how to stop the run, which they didn't figure out again today, Baylor will be another team that focuses on the run, and they play excellent football. Gary Bohannon hasn't thrown an interception yet this season. So he's going to take care of the football, and they're going to put it on their backs. If you cannot stop the run, it'll be another long day for Texas if they can't defend that. So that's something that this bye week should be an opportunity to get everybody refreshed, back honed in on what the mission is and where they plan to go, and then get them hopefully headed in the right direction.
I think the biggest thing for me is, where does this team go from now? The question is now, do they just hang their hats on and say, let's just ride this out because it's kind of like a rebuilding year with a new head coach? Or are they going to say, hey, after this bye week, are we going to do what we got to do? We only control our destiny right now. So I think right now is question mark is, who is this team right now? Because we still don't know who this team is. It can go any way right now. It can really go any way right now.
And it cannot be a rebuilding year because Sark even said that himself coming into the season, that to get the recruits, you got to win, and you got to win now. And this was a big recruiting weekend, and Texas comes up short. So they have some time to figure it out. It's the bye week, then it's Baylor. This is all must-win territory from here on out. Thank you so much for watching Texas Game Day Final presented by thezebra.com.